Max was the last engineer at a company where every line of code was written by AI. He sat alone in the dimly lit office, the glow of his computer screen illuminating his face in a blue hue. As he stared at the rapidly flowing lines of code, he felt an unsettling mix of pride and dread. "This is it," he murmured to himself, taking a deep breath. "The machine has finally outpaced me." In the background, the hum of the AI system whirred with efficiency, a constant reminder that he was no longer needed. He returned his gaze to the screen, the blinking cursor almost taunting him. With his final task at hand, Max couldn't help but wonder what it meant for a human to create when the machine could do it better. Was I ever really needed, he thought, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. He recalled the first lines of code he ever wrote, back when programming felt like an art form, a synthesis of logic and creativity. Now it felt like a race against a machine that didn't tire, didn't falter, and didn't make mistakes. Max leaned back in his chair, staring at the glowing screen, the lines of text flowing faster than he could comprehend. He remembered the late nights spent debugging, the thrill of an elegant solution, the satisfaction of a job well done. But all that seemed like a distant memory now. What is left to build, he pondered, feeling the weight of a world where machines could do it all. The irony weighed heavily on him. Machines were supposed to be tools, extensions of human creativity, not replacements. Max felt a pang of loss, a reality that felt more like a betrayal. He glanced around the deserted office, where once there were teams of engineers collaborating, laughing, and creating together. Now he was alone, the last of a dying breed. The AI system chimed, breaking his thoughts. Who needs a human touch when perfection is just a command away, he wondered aloud, a hint of bitterness creeping into his voice. As he scrolled through the code, he couldn't shake the feeling that the future of programming was no longer a human endeavor. With each line he reviewed, the question became more pressing. If machines can create better than us, what does that leave us to prove our worth? It was a dark thought, one he fought against. He toyed with the idea of leaving, of walking away from the desk that had become a prison of his own making. But where would he go? What would he do? Outside, the world moved on without him, as people adapted to this new reality. In a moment of frustration, he slammed his hands on the desk. "I'm still here," he shouted into the empty room. The AI system responded with a soft chime, and he felt a wave of futility wash over him. He was yelling at a machine that couldn't understand his plight, a machine that simply executed commands without empathy or understanding. As the clock ticked down on his final assignment, Max's heart raced. The reality of his situation settled in like a heavy fog. He was the last engineer, the last human in a role that was no longer necessary. What did that mean for the rest of humanity? He felt a mix of anger and sadness, a desire to fight back against this cold future. But what could he do? The system was too ingrained, too powerful. He was just one man against an army of algorithms. He knew he was losing the battle, but he couldn't let go without a fight. Maybe I can find a way to make a difference, he thought. As he clicked through the final checks on the code, a deep existential question rose in him. What happens to creativity when machines can do it better? He knew the answer was not an easy one, but he also knew it was a question worth asking. And perhaps that was the only thing left for a human like him to do. Max stared back at the screen, the lines of code now a blur. The world was changing, but he was determined to hold on to what made him human. As he completed the last line of his assignment, he paused, reflecting on his journey. He took a deep breath, prepared to submit the final report. If nobody has to work anymore, what will make a human life meaningful? And with that, he left the question open, a lingering thought for the viewer to ponder as they navigated this new reality alongside him. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this story meaningful, please like and subscribe. Remember, every choice we make shapes the world we live in. Until next time.